Welcome to another video on writing tips and tricks for the IELTS exam. In IELTS Writing Task 1, Academic, when the information in a line graph, a bar graph, a pie chart or a table relates to a period of time, for instance, the period covered by these tree rings, you need to use a variety of time expressions. In this video, we'll look at some prepositions and 3 other expressions you can use in the IELTS test to improve your grammatical range and help you paraphrase the question in your introduction. It will also help you with your IELTS preparation in terms of formal vocabulary and grammatical accuracy by telling you to avoid till and be very careful with until. What follows is an extract from an early video in which I cover these expressions. When you're using all these expressions to describe change, you will often want to combine them with reference to a time period, so the period of time during which this change took place. So we're going to finish with some expressions for talking about time. And you will also, in the introduction, need to paraphrase the way the question refers to the time period. So if, for example, the question says from 1995 to 2005, you could change that to between 1995 and 2005. Now, these combinations from to or from until and between and you need to get right. You can't say between to and you can't say from and. So yeah, remember what the combinations are, and depending what it says in the question, use the alternative one. A quick word about until. Until is the formal way of saying till, T-I-L-L, but till is informal, so don't use it for your formal writing. The other thing about until is that you can only use it in reference to time. From to, you can also use to talk about how big or how small an increase or a decrease is. So you could say the number of students increased from 60 to 80. But you can't say the number of students increased from 60 until 80, because there you're not talking about time. And that is a major mistake. And it's also one that is very common. So you might need to pay close attention to that. So if you're not sure, just stick to from to. 3 other expressions that are potentially very useful. Often, especially once you've mentioned the time period in your introduction, you might want to refer to the starting point. And instead of say, so if here it's 1995 to 2005, instead of saying in 1995 and then again in 1995 and then again in 1995, you can vary it by moving to at the start of the period, which gives you 6 words. Again, instead of saying in 2005, if that's the end of the period, you can say at the end of the period, and that's another 6 words. And sometimes you may want to refer to the whole period, and rather than focus on a particular part of it, just to talk about the main change that's taken place, and then you can say over the period as a whole, which is another 6 words. And if you're doing the IELTS exam, you only have to write 150 words. So if you happen to use all 3 of those expressions, that's more than 10% of what you need to write.